Welcome to the Hush Harbor, where the whispers of the past guide us to the truth. I'm Christian Stovall, the American heiress and founder of the fair, and this is our sanctuary. Hush harbors were secret gathering places where our ancestors met in the cover of darkness, away from watchful eyes. They came together to speak freely, to remember, to resist. And now, we reclaim that space. Here, we'll uncover hidden histories, decode the symbols all around us, and piece together the truth that was stolen. This is our time, our story, and our journey together. Welcome to the Hush Harbor. Let's find our way home.
Hey everybody. Hi friends, families, Facebook, YouTube. I'm like getting all choked up. My name is Christian Stovall. Some of you guys may know me from just my regular life, just community work and whatnot. Okay, and if you don't, what can I say in this reintroduction? I'm a mother. I'm a friend. I'm somebody who deeply loves her community and family, and who and someone who's gone through intense transformations over the past few years so that I could be right and ripe to tell my family story. And I know people are like, what story are you talking about? And I'm sure people have been curious about what exactly I do. And I guess to make a long story short, over the past decade or so, I have been on this incredible journey researching my family tree, my genealogy, and learning who my ancestors were. And it's so interesting because, here in America, we're taught that, Black people don't really have a history. It's starts with slavery, and, those people didn't really have any names, and it's not really worth trying to find out who the people were in your ancestry and your family tree. But when I started to dig around, I found out that couldn't be further from the truth, and that my ancestors have been here since the very beginning, and that they were actually the Aborigines, or the original people who were found here, and they have been classified as colored and Negro over the past 400 years. And through that understanding and the desire and urge to tell their story, which includes treaty signings and becoming prisoners of war and enslaved on our own plantations and things like that, and the Trail of Tears and all types of amazing American history, I realized that it is hard to truly tell that truth without creating a foundation for not only myself, but other people who would like to claim that truth. I guess it would be missing an opportunity if I didn't first explain kind of what we have been taught. What we have been taught about American history is that when the settlers came here, they found Native Americans and they killed all of the Native Americans, and the very few survivors ended up on reservations. And then somehow, between all that, stealing of the land and killing a whole population of people off, they brought another population of people while they were still establishing themselves here, and from Africa to work the land. And like I said, what I found that was a lie. And in fact, the colored people, like I said, have been here from the very beginning. And I have created this foundation called the Fair to kind of make things very clear about what has happened and who the Black people are, so that we can stop teaching our children lies in school, so that Black people can, so-called Black people can receive the restitution that we deserve. Restitution meaning to restore. And restoring meaning, first and foremost, our identity as Americans. And that's where we're getting into, okay? I know we're like checking along, right? Now, when I say Black people are the original Americans, what does that mean? Well, it would start with, what exactly is an American, okay? And let me, for our foundation here, the Fair, let me show you guys a little bit. Let me stop the screen, and I will share a little bit. Hi, everybody who's watching. And then we're just going to keep sharing from there, okay, guys? Okay. You guys see? So this is the foundation. It's called the Fair. It's a foundation for American Indian restoration and education. You can see here this beautiful Uchi Indian of Georgia from the 1700s. You can find this on the New Georgia Encyclopedia. And you guys feel free to come and visit and learn more. It's called fairrules.org. But we are first founded on the Webster's 1828, the Webster's Dictionary 1828, their definition for the word American. Okay, an American is a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals, or the copper-colored, okay, races found here by the Europeans, but now it's applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. So who in here, okay, knew that America's original inhabitants were considered Aboriginals or Aborigines, or they were copper-colored, okay? I didn't. That was news to me. And the foundation is actually set up about understanding what an American is and who that applies to today. So give me a second. We're just going to go over some of these other key foundational points, and the truth will become clear. And we're not going to be doing these super long. I'm going to break these up into little bits. Today we're just going to look a little bit look a little at the foundation, which starts with the definition of American. I have some slides, but I thought it would be good to show you guys actual websites, since this is my first time sharing with you guys on Facebook in a very long time. But it is taking a long time to keep stopping the screen. So you know what? I will also share with you guys. We'll go, let's see. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Let's see. Yeah, it's okay. Thank God it was though. So now we're at the britishmuseum.org. Can you guys see that? We're also founded on this beauty here, an emblem of America. And like we said, we're on britishmuseum.org, courtesy of the British Museum, okay? Its production date is 1798, published by Haynes and Son. You guys could see, I'll make it a little bigger. The associated ethnic name is a representation of American peoples, okay? So when we're talking about Aborigines or the copper-colored people, we're looking at copper-colored, like brown, okay, dark skin. This even gets into, so we're gonna keep moving. And I'll add this here. The Pew Research Center, what census calls us, okay? Can you guys see that? Awesome. So when we're looking at the census records, okay, I'll even just read. Explore the different race, ethnicity, and origin categories used in the U.S. decennial census from the first one in 1790 to the latest count in 2020. The category names often changed in a reflection of current politics, science, and public attitudes. For example, colored became Black, with Negro and African American added later. The term Negro was dropped for the 2020 census. Through 1950, census takers commonly determined the race of the people they counted. From 1960 on, Americans could choose their own race, okay? Starting in 2000, Americans could include themselves in more than one racial category. Before that, many multiracial people were counted in only one racial category. Now, the thing that is interesting that people don't understand about the US Census is the first one here in 1790, all the way through till 1850, there are only two different categories that you could be placed in. You're either white or Black, or colored and white, or Negro and white. And who were the colored people? Okay, the colored people were the Americans per the 1828 Webster's Dictionary, the Aborigines, the copper colored ones, okay? I'll share a little bit. Let's see if we can present some of these so I don't have to keep going back to, once I show you the source, we'll be able to look at the slides now since we've established it. And thank you guys for taking the time to listen. I know it's late, but I realize sometimes I'm like, oh, it's late, maybe tomorrow, and it keeps going tomorrow, and it's like, no, whenever we get a chance to, we're going to share a little bit, okay? So an American, a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or the copper colored, right? So what we're establishing using the Pew Research Center, taking a closer look at the census, is that originally it was just colored and white. And really that's all we see in when we're looking at colonial history, American history, even Reconstruction and stuff like that. There was the colored side of town and the white side of town, okay? And what we're finding out is that the colored side, the Negroes, we've been here for forever, okay, since the very, very beginning. Now, the part that is very, very telling, okay, is the Ancestry.com situation. Now, hey, what's good, Celestial Monique? Welcome, sis. Halito. The thing that is very, very telling is Ancestry.com. So I don't know if people have been seeing this for some time, or if this is your first time ever tuning in or hearing me talk about this. But Ancestry.com's DNA tests, they're telling all of the Black people from America that they're from Africa, but there are more portions to the DNA results, the test results, than they advertise on TV, or that they direct people to through the site. But as I started to do more digging, the more I started to understand about who my ancestors are and were and whatnot, I wanted to know exactly. It's like, well, hold on. If we've been here forever, what's going on with the DNA situation? And what I found is that there is another portion of the test called, let me show you guys. And this will probably be the last part for the evening. Let's see. Hey, hi, E-Notes. Hey, what's good, birthday twin? Welcome. Ashia. Yeah, that's the stage. Oh, view tabs. Okay. Oh, there we go. Can you guys see that? It's not showing on my there we go. Okay. There we go, guys. Okay, so and if you go onto my the nonprofit's website, fairrules.org, they can help direct you to this map, or you can just Google all places tested by Ancestry DNA. Okay, so this is ancestry.com. We're looking at support.ancestry.com, and we're looking at the DNA regions. Now, what is interesting that I have discovered about ancestry.com's DNA regions are that as it pertains to North America, okay, and we're looking at different indigenous regions, indigenous Arctic, here's indigenous America's North. There aren't any Native American communities for this region, and I will show you. This whole section is filled with communities, but there's only two types, two specific communities for that region, and they are either settlers. Okay, so here we go. We're looking at southern Louisiana, the French settlers, or that area is filled with African American communities. Okay. Now, this goes back to, like I said, we were talking about the census records, the definition of America. There was originally only colored and white, okay? And Ancestry.com is making it very, very clear who the original people are by giving the nationality American to the original people. Now, they're prefacing it with African because that is the new label, okay, that, let's see, that is the new label that we have taken on within the past, couple of decades, few decades, maybe 5 decades. I don't know how long has African American been around. But it's very clear that they gave the word American, the nationality American, to the original people. Also, like I said, what is most telling is that you can go through this whole entire list on Ancestry.com, and you're not going to find any quote unquote Native American communities. And what's interesting is because they have been utilizing indigenous populations from other parts of America. We'll be looking at like Central American, indigenous people from Central America or South America, and they're making it seem like those people were from this area, what they're considering indigenous America's North. But this area was filled with Black folks. Okay, this is the South. This is the Carolinas and Louisiana and Florida and Virginia. Okay, and not only did they say that the Black people, okay, these are the only, in other words, these are the only American communities, okay, for these lands. Right? African American, right? These are the only American communities for these lands. And the only other communities, okay, mind you, it gets deep, it gets down into the county. The only other communities are settlers, okay? They didn't say American settlers, right? Because if you can put African before American, you could have said American when referring to the settlers, but they didn't, because American is really actually an ethnicity that goes back to the copper-colored Aborigines, and they have been lying about our ancestry for a very, very long time. And it's been a very long time that I've truly said something about it, because it's like, well, what do we do? How do we rectify the situation? How do we teach people about their heritage and what really happened here? Because when you start to look at it, I'm gonna start to use the slides enough for that too, guys. Here we go. So when we're looking, right, there's no so-called Native American communities there, but there are the African American communities and the European settler communities, which falls right in line with the definition of an American, right? Originally applied to the Aboriginals, the Black people, okay, or the copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Or this goes right along to another, foundational point for the fair, the census records, right? Originally, it was just black and white. It wasn't until, I'll show you guys, 1820, 1830, 1840, 1850, they expanded the colored or the Negro categories for mulatto. Okay, and it was then in 1860 that they created the Indian category for that. And what I know, especially even looking at my own my own genealogy from some of my mixed bloodlines, my mulatto bloodlines, is that, that Indian category was created for, the settlers' children that they created by mating into the Aboriginal woman here in America. And so, hey, what's good, Nupuri on Payatu? Yeah, hey, what's good, Vixen? Welcome, sis. So yeah, that's it. I was talking also about the, when you're looking at these maps, thank you Ancestry.com for these maps, okay? You'll find out that, if we learned that the settlers were here and they're encroaching on American land, then that makes a lot of sense of why, right? We're looking at these right here. We're looking at Alabama settlers and the early Alabama and Georgia so-called African Americans, right? They were encroaching on our communities, okay? And settling around our communities. And then eventually during many different times of, throughout history, we had to leave. We're the exodusters, right? Great migrations out of there because of the violence and the racial terror that happened here on, in American soil. It gives a whole new light to the lynching and the sundown towns, and why Black people have been public enemy #1 here. It's because we were the ones who were colonized. We were the ones whose land has been stolen and stripped from us. And now we're living in this system, not knowing who we are or what has happened. But I'm going to play our foundational video and then we're going to leave because I didn't want this to be too long and I do got to go. So I love you guys so, so much. And I'll be coming back with more stories and receipts. And I just wanted to kind of break the ice and chat with you guys for a little bit tonight so you guys know what's coming. All right. And thank you guys so much for your time this evening, and those who watched live and those who's going to watch on the replay. I appreciate you guys having patience with me and for allowing me to share what is so incredibly important to me. And I look forward to new doors opening and for people rallying around this cause, because it's truly important for so-called Black people to be reconnected to their roots now more than ever. And sorry if this makes some people feel uncomfortable. Somebody who loves her community, that's the last thing I want to do. But I will not live in the shadows anymore, hiding something so important. I'm an American, regardless of what they want to preface it with. I love you guys. Good night.
are the original Americans? History has been rewritten, but the truth remains. The foundation for American Indian restoration and education, or simply the Fair, is here to set the record straight. Our foundation is simple. The Fair stands on its signature original American identifiers to define what an original American truly is. Our mission is to uncover the truth, reconnect descendants, and restore a lost heritage. Through our Fair original American identifiers, we reveal the true identity of the original Americans. The emblem of America. The emblem of America is an allegorical figure from the British Museum and is noted to be an ethnic representation of the American people. So what exactly is an American? The definition of American. The 1828 Webster's Dictionary defines an American as a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginal, or copper-colored races, found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Colonial and U.S. Census records. Early U.S. Census records show that for the first 70 years, only two racial categories existed: colored and white. Who were these colored people? The Fair asserts that they were the original inhabitants of this land. DNA. Ancestry.com DNA analysis labels the only communities for the region of indigenous North America as either African American or European settler. Surprisingly, there aren't any Native American communities listed for these lands, leaving the African American communities, the only ones given the nationality American, proving that those labeled as African American today are the true original Americans. Your ancestry holds the key. The Fair encourages everyone to research their genealogy, connect with historical records, and rediscover their true roots. Every generation carries a piece of the story, one that deserves to be reclaimed. Join us in reclaiming history. Visit the Fair today. Connect with your roots and restore your identity.
Long before the first European ships arrived, the original Americans lived, thrived, and built civilizations across these lands. But history has stripped them of their identity, their land, and even their nationality. Who are the original Americans? The answer should be clear, yet for centuries, their identity has been erased, rewritten, and denied. We stand to change that. Our foundation is built to uplift, protect, and restore the rights of the original Americans. With our Fair original American identifiers, we help reclaim what was lost, ensuring that recognition, rights, and resources reach those who rightfully deserve them. It's time to honor the past, fight for the present, and build the future. Join the movement. Reclaim the truth. Support the original Americans.